This is the Siswoo DZS2, or the Siswoo R9. It is a 4G LTE smartphone with a 5.2-inch screen, 1920 by 1080, but what we're really most interested in is the eink display. It's a 4.7-inch QHD 960 by 540 e-ink screen. The device itself does have a 1.7 GHz processor, 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs onboard storage. It does have some bands that work in North America, 900 by 1800 GSM, but all of the LTE bands are band 38, 39, and 40. It does have all Wi-Fi bands, A, B, G, N, 2.4, and 5 gigahertz, and this thing does have GPS and pretty much everything else you'd want on it, including stereo speakers, a 3.5mm headphone jack, a micro USB, dual SIM, micro SD, power button, infrared, front camera, rear camera, flash, and it does pretty much have no compromise in terms of features. There have been a lot of attempts with e-ink on phones over the years. There's been the Onyx e-ink smartphone, the Light Phone 2, there's been some concepts, there's even been the Yoda phone that has it on the back, and I mean, that's where this is going basically. They're not using a case either, like the one for the iPhone where you put it on the back and it functions and connects to an e-ink case. This one's built in. And for this review, we're basically not going to even focus on the front panel because it's just a smartphone. It doesn't do anything particularly special, except because this is a Chinese smartphone. You do have this little Baidu search thing in the corner that's always kind of hovering. You can remove it, of course. It is floating though. This does everything you'd ever want your smartphone to do. It has apps, it has widgets, it can make phone calls and texts. I must say that this glowing soft touch bezel home button is really cool. It's very, very discreet, and it's just the right amount of brightness to always be on and not drain your battery, but look really awesome while doing it. In the end, the actual home screen and everything is no different than the any other Android experience, so we're just gonna move on past that onto the e-ink panel. But there's nothing on the e-ink panel. How do you use it? Well, you press the side button to wake it up, then you slide upwards to unlock the device, and then you see something here called the e-ink setting EPD menu. We're just gonna start with this because this will show you what this will allow you to decide what your home screen will be. If you want it to be a standard Android, if you want it to be just a couple widgets with a big sunshine and some other stuff, if you want it to be just your calendar, or if you want it to be some news, and we can't read that because it's Chinese, recommended applications, or the ebook menu. Now you can't download any more on this menu, and there's not any really more than this to choose from. So you can just go ahead and set your homepage or setting homepage as you want it. But it's still not on, so how do you do that? Once you set your home screen, there it is right on the back. You can't do anything with it because you actually have to press and hold the power button to go into switch to secondary screen. Once you do that, that powers off, and here you have it, your secondary screen and the e-ink fully functioning. You can see if I catch some glare, it is indeed e-ink. It's not reflective like my smartphone here with all the fingerprints and whatnot. So you do have all of your screens just like the ones we saw before, your apps, business news, calendar, you have cloud book, and this is functioning. You can go here and you can call people and go ahead and make a call. You have call history as well. You have the back button at the bottom right corner. You can go to text messages. I don't have any messages. And you can go to mail and notifications and choose your book on cloud book. You can, I think this is a weather widget. No, none of that opens, but you do have the same thing here. You have mail, notifications, the February calendar, because that's where we're sitting at right now. Power save mode. This thing is actually very responsive, but we also want to know, can we do anything outside of just these panels? Well, yes, you can actually. This is probably the coolest feature of this device, is that it's not isolated to its own UI at the back. You can actually press and hold this, open mirror mode, press and hold it again, switch to the secondary screen, that goes away, and voila, your entire phone has actually deleted this monitor and displayed everything you want to do on the secondary monitor. Anything you wanted to do on the front of the screen, you can see right there, is now located on the back of the screen. Everything. You can go to the Kindle app, you can read manga. You can see here we have a Naruto manga that we were showcasing. You can pinch and zoom. Yes, it does have a lot of staining. Because this is a smartphone, they have it pretty much in a constant A2 mode, which basically means the refresh is going to be very fast. But the quality is amazing. It's fast and it's so responsive. In terms of e-ink devices, this is up there. This is very high. It does page turn animations. Pinching and zooming. Don't give me no notifications. Pinching and zooming. We can go back. We can choose anything we want. And of course, we're going to look at this because this is the e-reading experience. Tap the center. Bring up all your text changes. Brightness, but it doesn't work because there is no glow light at the back, because it's basically just mirroring any part of your smartphone's front screen on the back. And the whole time you don't have to worry about hitting the panel because you can't do anything to wake this up. We'll show you how to do that in a second. So you can change all your text size. Everything changes live. It's a little bit slower than the front panel, of course, because we're now not using an LCD LED monitor. And the back button isn't exactly the easiest thing to tap. We can go to Comixology and we can do guided view. The reason I don't have this on the table as we usually do is because I really wanted to show off the angle in which this can be read, because that's the whole point of e-ink is, you know, you want to see it at an angle. You want to see that there is no compromise when it comes to e-ink and your eyes, because this doesn't affect your eyes like an LCD screen. It's not refreshing. It's not doing anything. Well, there's a refresh, but that was actually good because now it's all clean. And you can set refresh times as well. Who is that? Oh, wow. That is, that's graphic. Sorry, I'm a Fairweather Marvel fan. I watch the movies. I'm not sure about all the side stories and everything. But anyways, this thing is pretty amazing right out of the box, how you have this functionality to do whatever you want with the screen. I mean, you can close mirror mode and go back to the regular panel by panel that's pre-installed in the device, or at any point in time you can leave it open like that, keep your clock running, switch to the primary screen, always have your clock or your calendar or whatever, and I mean, there you go. You have everything right here. This thing can even be used with your TV as a remote control. No, I'm not kidding. It does have an IR sensor up top, which means you can scan for your brand of television by adding a new TV, holding this up to the TV, and it actually just found my 42-inch LG that we have in the studio, and it just found it based on IR and the settings. I didn't have to input any codes or anything. I really wish we saw this a lot earlier, and I'm sorry this is so late, but we actually unearthed this in the bottom drawer of a desk in our offices, not our studio. And one of the guys is like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh man, we forgot to review that." But anyways, this is the Siswoo DZS2 or the R9, depending on what region you're buying it in. It doesn't really work in North America as a phone because the bands are just straight up different, but you can use this as kind of, well, I mean, if you wanted to use it as an e-ink reading device, you could do that. This thing has a lot going for it. I kind of wish it did have another variation with maybe a bigger screen, but it is what it is. This is an absolutely amazing e-ink device, and if you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns, you want to see more coverage on this, let us know. For goodyreader.com, this is Peter.